Gragas and the Ez, alam mo, ang laki nga ng question mark ko ngayon kasi nakita natin yung mga first picks na ginagawa dito ng blue side usually is yung mga picks na nakakapag-set up ng flexibility sa kanila. I feel like yung Gragas was somewhat alam mo yun, parang fitting siya doon sa may role.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kung ako naman mag-iisip, may flexibility ka din naman na nakukuha kay Renekton eh. Pwede mo siya ilagay sa mid, pwede mo siya ilagay sa top.
That's
so
true.
it's not really a pick na talagang pwede mo na itsiperahin kapag ka nag-first pick na. But then again, there were a lot na pwedeng kunin pero si Renekton talaga ang kinuha nila. But now,
Okay.
Galio tsaka Lilia. Galio tsaka Lilia ata.
Yeah. I think Galio is a lot better fit kasi nandito si Lilia kailangan pumasok, Renekton kailangan pumasok in terms of these team fights, and Galio can follow through as a setup with the Hero's Entrance. Ngayon dito, IIXWR, sinabi mo kanina, Renekton, pwede siya maging clash, pwede siya mapunta sa mid. So now, the optimal situation is to not pick a mid laner or a clash laner first. He could opt to go for the jungle and then wait for the opportunity to go through the next couple of picks. But Garen is also one, can be put into the top lane or can be put into the mid lane depending on where Renekton is gonna go.
And ngayon, tingnan natin what are the certain adjustments na gagawin pa nila. Both teams still has 2 bans to actually, adjust yung kanilang pick na gagawin dito. And kung for the side of IIXWR, they would be aiming to probably ban out yung mga marksman natin dito.
Yes.
Just try to take it out as much as possible. Yung Varus will be taken out. At kung titignan natin yung idea din na pwedeng gawin dito ng mga members ng side ng IIXWR is they can go for poke, di ba? And now, yung Zoe, yung tinanggal nila.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Well, sabihin natin may Ez ka, may Garen ka, tapos may Gragas ka, you have tanky frontline. Yung Zoe, hindi magiging mahirap sa kanya. To actually just go in, poke a bit, alam mo yon, bawasan na yung mga buhay for a hard engage or even pick off coming out from Garen with the Damascene Justice.
Yeah, for sure. And nasabi mo kanina, ADC is really the target ban here kasi FAP at this point is super flexible pa ng kanilang draft. They only have jungler as that staple and they also have Galio. But I love this coming from FAP. Binanaway nila yung Nautilus because as of yet, pwedeng ipasok dito ng IIX considering they already have a frontliner in the form of Garen. They already have Gragas for that extra amount of CC and Nautilus is a perfect fit. Removing it forces IIX hands to pick another jungler.
And ngayon you are seeing dito yung pacing pa ng side na ginagawa dito ng IIXWR. They would get another poke champion na there is some flexibility din naman sa playstyle na pwedeng gawin ni Jace. You do have the melee form. You can actually just go in, try to take down people on the side of Supremo. And I feel like it's a good replacement para doon sa Zoe pick, yung possible Zoe pick sana na nagawa nila. Just try to take out yung Lilia, bilisan mo lang, and si Saya dito, para kahit pa paano ma-force out mo yung Feather Storm sa kanya.
Yeah, for sure. And sinabi natin to last week during the quarterfinals, when it comes to Saya, yung only hope niya to survive if she is left alone, standing by herself, left on his lonesome, or her lonesome, is yung kanyang ultimate. Pag nawala yun, it's actually the perfect time for IIX to follow through. And so far, itong 2 teams na to, very drastic of a difference ang kanilang lineup. One is Poke, and one is all in Kha'Zix to finish off IIX's draft.
And kung titignan mo yung lineup dito ng side ng Supremo, it's going to be very hard to actually break through yung mga frontline. What you have to do is you need to get that jungle assassin na kahit pa paano, kayang talunan, kayang i-burst down yung Corki, probably the Saya, just force out yung mga ultimates and all that. And with this pick, hindi nila kailangan mag-all out doon sa may front. Minsan, pwede nang tumalon yung Kha'Zix doon sa may likod, just try to take them out, at kapag mababa na yung buhay, pwede nang habulin yun ng Garen, pwede nang exploding cask ng Gragas. All good na sila doon eh.
Yeah. For sure. And yun nga yung magiging struggles for both sides. You were able to mince it up for the viewers watching at home. There's a big problem though for IIX's side.
Ano yan?
Right now, medyo monotonic ang kanilang draft. They have the Ezreal, they have the Jace.
Monotonic! Ano ibig sabihin ng monotonic?
Ano lang, monotone. Isang,
yun pala yun.
Ganun lang yun.
Guys, lumalabas na. Mahirap to, guys. Ready nyo ang inyong mga bimpo.
Ano na lang, isang tipong damage. Tama ba? Tama ba yung Tagalog nun? Ganda. Ganda na Tagalog.
Kaya sinasabi ko sa iyo, guys, magbebe-time muna tayo dito. Hindi, pero ayun, nagigets natin yung sinasabi doon ni Infinity na in terms of damage output, mas madaling i-intercept or mas madaling isipin kung ano yung kailangan mo i-itemize laban sa kanila rather than actually securing yung mga items na parang pangkalahatan.
Very various, yeah. And I wanna say here, yung IIX at this point, mafo-force sila mag-build into a hybrid for Ezreal specifically. Pwede siya mag-Triforce or Mana Immune and then goes into the Rift Maker. I think this will be the option for them. If ever na gusto talaga nila palitan and mix things up para magkaroon ng variation.
Hinalo.
Mainit eh. Kailangan nila ng halo-halo. So, pwede nilang gawin yun for the side of IIX.
September na naghalo-halo ka ba rin? Ang lupit mo.
Mainit pa rin.
Mainit pa rin. Tama nga naman.
Hindi naman nag-iibang dito sa Pinas.
Ngayon with those picks being shown sa tapat ninyo, kayong nanonood dyan, you have your own opinions about this draft. Ilagay nyo sa comment section. We want to know what you think. Comment nyo dyan and make sure, i-share nyo yung stream para makapanood yung mga tropa nyo na nakapag League of Legends, yung mga tropa nyo nakapag Wild Rift na, and definitely, this is going to be an interesting match. We have a long day ahead, and we are just at game number 1.
Yeah, we're just getting started, and remember for the viewers watching at home, the stakes on the line today, it's the semi-finals. Ang team na mamanalo dito will proceed into the grand finals tomorrow, at matatalo, magbabattle for third na lang kinabukasan. So, napaka-importante ng labanan na magaganap today here in the semifinals. And to start us off, sinabi mo nga, it's IIX versus their opponents ng FAP Supremo.
Definitely, it's going to be a good matchup. But now, let's head on to the Rift. Alamin na natin kung anong mangyayari dito sa game number 1.
Yeah, and for the early game, the expectations are very chill. Diba? Mentally chill kasi. Kaya chill lang muna ang early game natin. And the reason why I say that is when we're looking at the draft, pretty much every single one of these champions are scaling. But now, FAP Supremo, quite aggressive, goes for the Ignite onto the Ezreal to put his HP down for a bit. But Honeyfruit is still up, so no first blood as of yet here in the early game.
At andito, napaka-aggressive ng ating mga lanes. And as you're seeing, Supremo, yung tapatan talaga ng Garen tsaka ng Renekton dun sa may taas, ano yan eh. Kumbaga, isang malaking lokohan sa mga early stages kasi parang hindi naman din nila kaya i-take down yung isa't isa na hindi nag-overextend yung isa or walang dumadalaw na jungler.
Yeah, especially if we're considering, sinabi mo nga yung top lane, Renekton, Garen. Pag lumapit ang Renekton dyan, pwedeng i-silence ng Garen. Easy peasy, hindi to kaagad mapapatay. And as we all know, Garen is one of the most sustainable champions in the game. But right now, bottom lane for IIX, they have to be careful. They already know. But Kuro now in danger, looking at the backside. Red team goes for the first blood. It's IIX who takes one down. And now it's mentally chill. Hindi ka makakapag-chill sa lagar na to. It's IIX who takes two.
And the IIXWR being patient sa kanilang mga galaw. Nahuli ng body slam dito ng isang Gragas at tinapos na doon. But Karma really wants to take that kill. Corki goes down. Things are going south para dito sa side ng Supremo.
For sure. And nakita natin kanina, ginamit pa ni Karma yung kanyang passive in terms of those isolation damage. Mas malakas yung magiging damage niya papunta doon sa Corki na naiwan lang sa kalagitnaan ng Rift. So medyo mahirap, pero IIX medyo delikado sa itaas as Summit is being ganked, forcing out the Ignite. The CP Bubble will connect as well, or rather, the long-range poke of Awaken has connected, but it's not enough to bring down a Garen.
And IIXWR, they're looking to find kills all over the map dito. Hindi talaga sila magdadalawang isip, and they know na itong bottom lane is actually a pressure point para sa side ng Supremo.
Gusto kong ginawa ni Karma dun I wanna mince it up a bit kasi nung ginawa ni Karma, naglabas siya ng pang-deny ng wards pero hindi niya sinira agad. And that just denies the vision of FAP done. And yes, there's information pero hindi alam ng FAP kung sino yun. Unless na magtama ang Karma doon sa ibaba at pinakita niya sarili niya. Just these micro plays is something to behold of these players. The 4 best teams here in Wild Rounds.
Yung presensya dito ng isang Kha'Zix na bumababa lang siya, it's actually a big thing din para dito sa Gragas at sa Ez. Kasi nga naman, kung papansinin mo yung position na ginagawa dito ng side ng Supremo, hindi na nga sila tumatawid eh. Hindi na nga sila dumaabot doon sa may river banda. As in talagang doon na sila side nila. Yung Torre, kapag ka nandun, lapit lang tayo dito, hindi na tayo madadive ng basta-basta. Pero kung tutuusin, yung IIXWR, they're just rotating, they're just trying to get as much gold as possible para dito kay Ez. Meanwhile, yung Jace naman, pati yung Corki, nandito na rin sa baba.
Yeah, and just generally, Wild Rift is dependent on these junglers to keep up the pace. Ano bang gagawin ni Karma? Ano bang gagawin ni Awaken? And they will be the ones who can dictate ano mangyayari in each and every respective lanes. And yes, it's quite arguable na pwedeng maging impact dito si Mentally Chill. Pwede maging impact dito si Gragas sa kabila. Pero ang jungler, in terms of that early game, in terms of the mid game, will be that big factor.
And kita naman natin, kakaroon din ng onting time dito para kumuha ng onting gold. Dito yung Gragas natin at si Mirai nandito na rin, pero meron nang naging answer dito yung mga members ng side ng IIX. Na-take na nila si Saya, and this can be a fight. Tignan natin kung sino nga ba ang unang kakasa dito, and the Valkyrie will be used, and Red Team dito makakuha ng Mountain Dragon.
Pero
Unti-unting nagbabak. Unti-unti na sila nagbabak.
Nakuha na nila yung gusto nila. FAP nakuha na na ang Hextech Mimic. And it's a 1-for-1 trade in terms of objectives. But it's IIX who will be able to put up the pressure up against FAP here in this 5 minutes. 0-4 na ang magaganap dito. 3K gold lead for IIX.
And ngayon makikita natin dito, there is pushing capability na dito para side ng IIXWR because of that mountain rate. Habang nangyayari lahat ng kaguluhan doon sa may taas, si Kha'Zix ang ginawa niya, talagang secure niya na lang yung objective doon. Sabi niya, easy objective na to eh. Anayin ko ba?
Sabi niya, bahala na kayo dyan. Ako, may sarili akong ganap. Kayo, bahala na kayo dyan sa Hextech Mimic.
Kung gusto nyo maglaban dyan, okay lang naman sa akin. Isa naman akong ipis. Wala na naman akong gagawin masyado. O sige, gano'n na lang gawin natin. Tamang init lang at nakakamdaman nga natin, naririnig natin ngayon. Bahagya yung comms ng dalawang teams natin. Sila kasi meron silang noise cancelling na earphones eh.
Ikaw ba meron ka nun?
Wala ako nun.
Wala tayo nun eh. Kaya
wala tayo nun, mahal yun eh. Pero binigay sa kanila ng Wild Rounds yun para hindi talaga sila magkakarinigan.
Kasi mahal sila ng Wild Rift. Top 4 ang sinasabi natin dito sa Wild Rounds Pilipinas. But as of right now, it's all about the stats as objectives. IIX, medyo malayo ang kanilang kaganapan dito sa mid. They have to force the back away, forcing out the flash as well, coming in from Gragas to retreat. But so far, no casualties as of yet for IIX's side. Wala pang nakakuhang kill dito ang FAP.
Alam mo, na sobrang mahal tayo ng Wild Rift, hindi pa naman nila sinasabi sa akin. Pero pakiramdam ko may wild course tayo.
Uy,
ganun eh, pakiramdam ko may wild course tayo kay Wild Rift. Kasi mahal nila tayo eh.
Onops!
Pero ngayon si Onops,
delikado! Ayun, napatay na ng FAP ang kauna-unahan nilang napatay dito sa Rift in first game. And FAP Supremo, nakakuha man sila, pero 2K gold lead pa rin ng IIX.
And Saya with the Bloodthirster, pero etong si Ez, going that straight route. Yung path na tinitake talaga ng isang Ez, just trying to scale up as much as possible. They know they have the time.
Yeah.
Hindi naman sila na-pressure dito na makipagsabayan eh. Pero alam mo, yung Saya dito, kumuha siya ng Bloodthirster. Talagang gusto nila dito, makapag-sustain lang siya in the early stages.
Yeah, ito yung mahirap eh. Kasi nasabi natin kanina, itong mga ADCs, they really have to be the forefront in terms of damage. Especially considering na pagpunta ng late game, sila na yung magiging dependencies ng mga laro na to. During the quarterfinals, we saw the ADC actually change things up para mapunta pa sa 4th game sa isang laban na naganap last week. And this time around, ito pa rin yung magiging kaganapan dito. This will be the dependencies. And so far, if we're looking at it, it's Ezreal who is now 400 gold lead up against Kuro.
IIX, they're looking to slowly try and creep up dito. Yung power creep na ating tinatawag at tinatry nilang kumuha pa ng onting items eh. They know at some point there is going to be resistance coming out from the side of Supremo. But for IIXWR, ano naman yan eh? Ano naman yan? Kumbaga, natural course naman yan ng Wild Rift game eh. Ang gusto lang talaga nila, laging one-up sila ng item. So if there are times na pwede na silang mag-farm, ginagawa lang nila. Wala namang objective ngayon sa mapa na malaking-malaki talaga eh.
Has to force out the flash. Here's Entrance comes up next to zone away IIX. But IIX have something else in mind. The turret goes down in bot. Dragos went in with a body slam as Mental Chill brought down to half HP remaining. Pero wala nang value na magstay pa dito ang IIX and they retreat with a turret in mind.
And unti-unting nakakalamang at unti-unti din napapaliit ng IIX yung mundo dito ng side ng Supremo. Meanwhile, for Kuro and the others, at least dito sa pagpapahinga ng IIX, nakakahanap din sila ng pwede nilang pagkuhaan ng gold. May hammer ng Hasha. Possibly next item in a few minutes, meron na yan, up na yan. Baka pwede na sila lumaban doon.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about that waiting game for the side of FAP. Kasi kung tingnan natin, early game, hindi talaga sila mananalo up against the likes of the Kazakhs in terms of the Garen and even the Jason napakalakas in terms of that early game pressure. FAP medyo scaling sila, so they have to play patiently. They have to wait for time. Ocean Drake now will be the target next as the next objective.
Sila Onops dito. Unti-unti na humarap sa mga membro. Oy, nahuli si Enzo and Enzo dito with a shield. Napakakapal at habang nangyayari lahat yon, tinumba na ang Ocean Dragon dito pero ito ang fight. Corky nandun sa may likod. Napakaganda ng pwesto niya. Just poking back and forth dito sa may lane. Ginamit niya na yung blasting cone.
5v3 na ang kaganapan. Has to force out the flash over the wall to come back to safety. Very low na ang situation ng FAP side. Awaken na tira doon sa Dragon's Pit. And so far, it is FAP who may get the double kill but at the cost of 4 people's lives.
4 ang tumba. And Corky actually gets to live. Diba? Lumalim siya doon utilizing yung blasting cone to just get away. Pero sa totoo lang, at some point may realize mo din na parang hindi na nga siya tinarget halos dito ng mga members sa side ng IIX eh. Ang ganda ng pwesto niya kanina eh.
And I think at that point, yung nagsisimula yung laban, I think IIX has a different perspective of that game. Si FAP, nakafocus lang sila doon sa Ocean Drake as an objective. Pero si IIX, kung nakita natin kanina, si Enzo natira, isolated on that fight. IIX, pinatay siya, nakakuha sila ng numbers advantage at sinunod nila isa-isa. Kung saan nangyari, it's a 4-2 trade. And yes, makuha mo man yung objective na Dragon, pero IIX right now, still speedrunning in terms of that gold income na nakuha nila dito sa game.
Puro talagang lahat ng pwede niyang pwestuhan, pinapwestuhan niya na. And I feel like Supremo is doing this, talagang nagre-relegate na sila ng 1 or 2 lanes of minions para matake niya just to accelerate pa yung farm dito. May Navori na siya, may Thirster na siya. Pero, ang nangyari kasi, yung Ez, naka-tripers na.
Oh, and after niyan, possibility, Riftmaker na ang kasunod. Ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, more onto that hybrid type of situation and type of setup para kung saan hindi magiging monotonic ang magiging side ng IIX in terms of that damage output. And so far, everything will quiet down. Everyone wants to play a bit of those card games dito sa Baron Nashor. They want a piece of that pie. They want that extra amount of pressure.
They will get a turret doon sa may taas. So in terms of turrets dito, pantay ang Supremo at ang IIX. But in terms of the objectives na pwede makuha, pareho din sila. Yung may ocean, may mountain. Ngayon, Baron is the main point of contest dito for both of these teams. As you can see, yung Supremo naman din, hindi na sila magpa-back off eh kasi meron na talagang items eh.
Yeah, and ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, it's IIX who's now on the timer. FAP, scaling composition ang meron sila. And now it's IIX who has to put the pressure. Shield of Durant to delay, to taunt down Summit. Pero this is not enough. Kuro in front, roots down onto 2. IIX, kailangan yung lumayo kasi nandito na si Awaken para mapatulog ang lahat ng IIX. And Karma has to retreat, but it's still enough with the Leandris to put him down. No jungler left for IIX. Left FAP who dominates, pero nag-comeback din naman dito ang IIX. Tinanggal din nila si Awaken, and now it's 4v4, a 1-to-1 trade.
My goodness, Supremo making that count. Natanggal nila si Karma at ang ganda din ng patulog, ng Lilia, ni Awaken, lahat-lahat na. 2 junglers down. At isipin mo at this time, na pick off nila isa't isa, walang pwedeng mag-backon dito unless talagang ipilit nila.
Hindi pwede. And I think the Ice Drake will be the priority here after the junglers come up next. Is the Baron, in theory, is much more important. Pero in terms of the capability of both these teams, mukhang Dragon ang pipilitin neto as Karma is now alive and Awaken comes up next.
And IIX, they are having a good time dito sa pag-ikot-ikot, pero nakita na natin yung capability ng Supremo Hindi na pwedeng may maiwan sa kanila dito katulad nung kanina Kanina yung Kha'Zix nawala
Yun yung mahirap pag nag-overextend ka, especially when we're considering the amount of crowd control na meron sila. Awaken kayang magpatulog, si Kuro kayang mag-root ng kalaban niya with the feathers. You have Mentally Chill with the Galio as well that can taunt, that can knock up, that can actually put a lot of crowd controls as well. So these are some of the aspects na kailangan respetuhin ng IIX.
Mentally chill.
Chill lang ka.
In front of many. At Supremo dito, they're just trying to trickle down yung mga buhay ng mga kalaban dito. I mean, pa isa-isa, papuk-puk lang, pero it does so much kapag ka nagkahulihan na, and Renekton will be the target. Merong alalay dito from the Galio, but, tumba pa rin si Kinik!
And so, napatumba na. So, that is the number advantage once again for IIX. Pero ito yung naganap kanina. History repeats itself. It's FAP who gets the objective and IIX who gets the kill. And this is the trade that FAP gets out from that fight.
Supremo. Ito na yung mga sinasabi natin. There are times na kaya nilang mag-punish, mag-pressure, pero it takes so much time to take down somebody dito. Dumarating sa point na sila yung nababawian.
Sabi nga nila, an eye for an eye. Tingnan natin kung kayang ibaliktad dito ng FAP because right now IIX has eyes on the Baron Nashor, but the zoning capability is just too much in front. It's Garen we're talking about. The Damascene Justice almost killed him, and Awaken has to force out a flash and follows through. Nandito si Gragas for the killing spree as Awaken falls down, and IIX secures the Baron and secures the jungler's head.
Pero as much as possible, gusto pa rin mag-slow down, mag-slow push lang dito ng mga members sana ng Supremo. Try to push them back para may vision sila doon sa may background. Pero hindi nagbibiro talaga yung IIX Talagang ginagawa talaga nila, harap kung harap huhulihin at huhulihin ka nila. At ngayon, na nakuha na yung T-Hex, wala nang preno-preno para sa side ng IIX. Dire-diretso na to. Hindi na magpapatinag.
All in na kung all in. From a 2k gold lead lang from IIX side. Ngayon na ipalaki na nila to a 5k gold lead and Mentally Chill sa harap na patumba kaagad ng T-Hex and FAP na wala na ang isa sa pinaka-importante na lang crowd control na champion at si Kuro low HP na rin and tier 2 goes down in mid.
Remo, they need to end the push. Kailangan nilang pigilan ngayon kung ano man yung ginagawa nito ng mga members sa side ng IIX. Pero nagtumbahan na, Kha'Zix will go down kay Saya. Pero hindi pa talaga tapos, gusto pa nila ng taas.
And nasira na ang T-Hex dito and IIX
will just back down.
Will just back down. Nakuha naman nila ang inhib third in mid lane. So nevertheless, it's actually a worth of a trade na nakuha nila out from the Baron and out from the T-Hex.
IIX. Ngayon, nakikita natin at some point, you actually have the idea na tignan yung mapa natin at ito lang ata yung pahinga na nakuha natin in the past few minutes. At alam mo yun, in terms of the items, you have that well actually, naka-executioner's calling na dito ang isang Saya. Talagang naghahabol na sila. Dalawang Edge of Night nga yung meron dito sa side ng ng IIXWR.
And yung pahinga nila, hindi rin ganun kalakihan. As you have the Elder Drake coming up in 10 seconds. Nakita din natin yung items dito ng IIX. You have double Serpent's Fang from Kha'Zix and from Jace. Gusto na respetuhin yung amount ng shields na meron ng FAP. And now Enzo starts up the fight as the stun comes through onto Gragas, but no for an all-in. Delikado pa rin dito as IIX has control over the right quadrant jungle.
And Supremo clearly very cautious kung ano ang nangyayari dito para sa side ng IIXWR. Kasi kung titignan mo, parang kaya ka rin talaga nila bigyan eh. Merong pasok dito na gagawin si Mental Chill.
Nilabas
It's
na lahat.
a nice catch, pero doon sa may likod, may zones na magagamit. Ang daming stasis na naganap. Grabe naman! Gold na gold! You are gold! Always believe in yourself! Mirai 1! Oy! Bakad! Hindi natatama, wala nang tatamaan, pero tumbay yung mga members dito ng side ng Supremo.
They're ending! IIX has 4 kills already and Mentally Chill kailangan niya pa mag-recall papunta ng base, and IIX has all the capability to finish it as minions will come through. It's a super minions running into the base as they're looking for the finish, and they're looking for a kill as well as a sprinkle to a win as IIX strikes first here in the semifinals.
Grabe! Ang tindi ng laban! Ang tindi ng English ni Infinity!
Ay,
Kakaiba!
sorry.
Kakaiba.
Sorry, boss.
Kakaiba ka talaga.
Ano bang
Halika dito.
Tagalog na ang
Ano?
ng strikes first?
Strikes first.
Umisa.
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 Oh, yun. No. Tama naman. Hawak kamay tayo. Dobling kamay. Ayan.
Umisa lang sila.
Umisa lang sila.
Kaya pa ba?
Ito po ang tinatawag na Taglish casting. Ako po yung Tagalog, siya po yung English. At dito nakikita natin sa ating highlights, men, na at some point, meron talagang palag kahit papaano yung mga members dito ng Supremo. Pero kasi, parang back and forth, parang may duda. Parang hindi sila all-in. Habang yung IIXWR, kahit magkatumbahan na sila, kahit bumaba yung buhay nila, talagang haharap eh.
Yeah. And I think the drastic difference kasi nitong dalawang teams na to, IIX, very early mid-game centric ang kanilang lineup. They have Jace very strong in the early game. They have Ezreal that can put pressure as well dahil dun sa mga pokes na meron siya. And you also have the Garen that's really strong early mid kasama din naman ng Kha'Zix. So sila yung nasa timer at nakita din naman natin kung paano gumalaw si Karma. It's all about those macro plays na ginanap nung early game, visiting the bot, visiting the mid, and IIX, kailangan nila mag-play safe, pero hindi nila to naganap successfully.
Oo. At saka ang titignan mo dito talaga yung for IIX, literal men, na ang plano talaga nila, just try and contain yung mga setup dito, yung mga members ng side ng IIX. Kaso ang problema kasi, lahat ng mga possible na gagawin nila dito, literal pre yung Renekton. Yung Renekton, hindi siya makagalaw, hindi siya makastan, wala siyang ma-burst kasi pigil lagi yung combo niya.
At kung nakita mo kanina, no, FAP always consistent into prioritizing gold instead of objectives. I mean, rather, IIX prioritizing yung gold nila. Nagkakaroon ng laban sa Drake, pero anong ginawa nila? IIX, focus target lang kay Enzo, focus target lang kay Mentally Chill, habang ginawa ng FAP yung Ocean Drake, pati yung Ice Drake. Pero ano ang naging turnaround doon? FAP, may gold injection sila doon sa mga main carries nila, and in the end, you may have the dragons, but we have the win. We have the gold to take it down for the first game.
And as you're seeing right now, ang ating stats, clearly it's not favoring yung mga members dito ng side ng Supremo. Ang daming damage na nagawa ni IIXWR. Kaso ang problema, literal na may literal na yung damage